Today's episode of The Real Deal with Damian Adams is brought to you by Dat Feelin Podcast. Now, we are all chasing that feeling of joy, that feeling of righteousness, that feeling that can't be explained. Well, the chase can be over by subscribing to Dat Feelin Podcast. Now, Dat Feelin Podcast isn't just one podcast. It's a network full of podcasts that cover everything from pop culture to music to sports, wrestling, and everything in between. So make sure you subscribe to Dat Feelin Podcast. That's DATFEELIN Podcast, available on all podcast platforms. Today's episode is also brought to you by the 3-Point Conversion. Now, the 3-Point Conversion is a sports media company where fans' opinions matter. So you follow the 3-Point Conversion on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, wherever. You get access to in-depth articles on the NFL, NBA, college football, college basketball, soccer, hockey. All sports under the sun are covered by the 3-Point Conversion, where fans' opinions matter. Thank you for listening to The Real Deal with Damian Adams. This is real sports talk for the real sports fan, and I definitely appreciate all you real sports fans who are listening right now. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, thank you. Please do not forget to help a brother out and give me that 5-star rating, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. That 5-star rating will definitely be appreciated. If you're listening on the 3-Point Conversion station on Spreaker Radio, thank you. The 3-Point Conversion stations where fans' opinions matter. So if you think the show is hot, say it loud. I think the show is hot and I'm proud. If you think the show can improve, don't say it as loudly. But please let me know. I need both your praises and your criticisms to be great at my job. And today I'm really excited. It's an episode where it's just me and you. Just me and you. Just me and you. Ooh. I was getting over a cold, so those vocals wasn't there for the last few weeks. I'm glad they're back now. All right, you hear it. So I'm real hyped about today's show. It's all football today. Big football weekend that just passed. And it made me start thinking about something. The name of today's episode is The Golden Parachute. Now, there's some people out there who may be familiar with what that is, and a lot that's probably not. So let me give you what the definition of the Golden Parachute package is. It's an agreement between a company and an employee, specifying that the employee will receive significant benefits if employment is terminated. This could include severance pay, cash bonuses, stock options, or other benefits, right? And you're probably thinking, Damian, you host a sports show. Why are you thinking about the Golden Parachute package? This is why. Both the Saints and Patriots got eliminated on wildcard weekend. And they both have quarterbacks who are over 40 years old. And in each case, it may be beneficiary to the franchise if the quarterback retires. And you may be thinking I'm crazy for saying that, right? Like, Tom Brady is a lot of people's GOAT. Drew Brees holds pretty much every record imaginable. Why would you want these guys to retire? Let's start with New England. Tom Brady has slowed down significantly. He's 42, right? You can't expect him to be playing at the level he was playing at in 2007. Just not going to happen. It's impossible. And at this point, as a franchise, you just want to know where you are. He is a free agent. He can leave if he wants to. But that also isn't a good look, because now if he goes on to wherever, you have the New England Patriots having a stain of letting Tom Brady, the guy who quarterbacked you to 6 Super Bowl victories, going somewhere else. Fans would be very, very upset about that. And with Tom Brady, you have the possibility of looking like, Joe Namath at the end of his career, or plenty of other quarterbacks we've seen stay around too long. And this is unprecedented to be at this age still playing at a high level. I don't know how old Vinny Testaverde was, but he wasn't playing at a high level, most of the time. But he stayed around forever. With Tom Brady being considered the GOAT by many, not mine, but many, he should think about retiring at a point where he's still remembered as the great guy and quarterback that he is. And this is where the Patriots come in. They should offer him a golden parachute package. Offer him a package where he gets part ownership, right? Cash bonuses don't really mean anything to a guy like Tom Brady. He's made enough money. His wife makes enough money. They're good there. So he's truly playing for the love of the game. That's the thing with him where you may not retire. He may go ahead and join another team. But you at least can offer him the golden parachute package. Ownership, job in the front office, whatever he wants to do. If he wants to be just a representative, someone who is the face of the franchise from a non-player standpoint, give him that job. Pay him a handsome salary. Or if he wants to be really involved, I don't know if him and Bill Belichick will be able to work it out, or he can be on the coaching staff, but offer him that as well. Give him the best package you can give to a retired player. Because now you have to move on and see if you have something there in Jarrett Stidham from Auburn, who you drafted last year. Is he anything? Do you have to go out and draft another quarterback? Because Tom Brady has stayed around so long, you no longer have that backup plan that you had with Jimmy Garoppolo or Jacoby Brissett. So you have to move on and see what you have in Jarrett or see what you can get later on in the draft. But as a coach, as an organization, you just don't want to be in that state of not knowing. And I think New England should go ahead and offer Tom Brady that golden parachute package. And I feel the same way about the Saints. And for people who know me, they might think it's crazy because I'm a Saints fan. Why would you want Drew Brees to retire? Drew Brees is still very, very good. It's hard to name 10 quarterbacks that you would take over him. But I want to remember him like this. As a great quarterback who had a bad game in his last one, but will still be remembered for all he did. And he's someone who has also earned the right to get that golden parachute package. The Saints should offer him part ownership, maybe 5-10% of the team, a place in the front office or on the coaching staff if he wants to be. I could easily see Drew Brees being the offensive coordinator under Sean Payton or quarterbacks coach, something to that aspect. Or if he doesn't want to do that, the same position can be offered to him of Tom Brady being the face of the franchise from a non-player standpoint, being a spokesman, getting paid handsomely to do that. I don't know what Drew Brees' plans are post-football, but if they involve being involved in football, it should be with the Saints. He definitely deserves to go out in a great way and go out on his own terms. He's earned that with, bringing the Saints from being the Aints, having one playoff victory pre-Sean Payton, Drew Brees, to now being a team that is shocking when they lose in the wild card round at home. That transformation of the image of the Saints is because of Drew Brees and Sean Payton. And Drew Brees should be able to go out with a golden parachute. And with the Saints, it's a little different because we do have a backup plan in place. You have Teddy Bridgewater, who's a free agent, but definitely showed that he could be a starting quarterback in this league. In the 5 games that he played, had great stats. He completed 68% of his passes for 1,384 yards, 9 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. He's only 27 years old, so he can easily play for another 8 to 10 years, and you're good to go there. And there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be like screaming, "What about Taysom Hill? What about Taysom Hill?" I get it. Taysom Hill is outstanding at what he does. I'm going to break it down in a spades type fashion. If you play spades or cards in general, you'll get it. And for the sake of this analogy, I'm going to keep it simple. I know there's some people who play spades. They go joker, joker, deuce, deuce. I'm going to keep it simple. Go at ace as the highest card. Now, Drew Brees is no longer an ace at quarterback. Still probably a king, queen type level, but no longer an ace, right? Teddy Bridgewater is probably right under Drew Brees as someone who could be at the queen level, maybe even get to the king level if he has a full season under someone like Sean Payton. Taysom Hill, if he's only quarterbacking, is a jack, right? The jack can be effective when playing spades if your partner has an ace, queen, or king in their books, because if they use it correctly, that jack may be walking when it comes to your turn to use that jack. But if you don't have the ace, king, or queen in your hand, or your partner doesn't have the ace, king, or queen in their hand, that jack is no longer going to be effective. So you Taysom Hill at quarterback, you have to use him in the right way, not put him at quarterback full time. There's a reason that you paid Teddy Bridgewater so much money to be a backup. And he showed his worth this year, going through and being 5-0. So whenever you have somebody who can show you what they did, beloved by the fans, I was there when they played Tampa Bay and the crowd was chanting, "Teddy, Teddy, Teddy." He already has that established relationship with the fans. The transition would be seamless. You just need Drew Brees to retire. And at this point, I think it's time. And as a Saints fan, I know it's crazy to say. It's crazy. But you have to have a plan in place and be ready to move on with that plan. Taysom Hill, I love him being used in the way he's being used. Sometimes at quarterback, sometimes at running back. Alvin Kamara, he is an ace running back. He didn't have an ace year, but he's an ace running back. Taysom Hill's a jack at running back. Great to be used as, different times, but he's not somebody who you're going to put back there to get 20 carries. Michael Thomas, ace receiver. You don't break the record for receptions in a season without being an ace receiver. Taysom Hill, who caught a touchdown pass in this past game, is a jack at receiver. He has speed, but he played quarterback most of his life, so he's not going to know how to run routes the way Michael Thomas does. But because of his speed, because of the other weapons out there, the ace in Alvin Kamara, the ace in Michael Thomas, the very good tight end in Jared Cook, Taysom Hill can be effective. But both Tom Brady and Drew Brees should move on. And they should get part ownership of the franchise and whatever else they pretty much want, as long as it's not bananas, and go out in glory. Go out as we remember them as being two of the greatest to ever do it, and allow the franchises to move on gracefully. But with Tom Brady, I doubt it. Drew Brees, we truly don't know where his mindset is. And he's, like I said, still very accurate, but the deep ball definitely has declined. And that's a big part of the offense. You got to be able to take the top off. So with both of these guys, hopefully we can see them move on, and each franchise can move on gracefully from this standpoint. So we had some breaking news today as the Dallas Cowboys hired Mike McCarthy as their head coach. Now, for you guys who are not familiar with Mike McCarthy, he was a long-time Green Bay Packers head coach. He was 125, 77-2 during the regular season, 10-8 in the postseason. Does have one Super Bowl championship from 2010. Now, I personally like the hire because you're coming in with a guy who has his own resume. Somebody who is outside of the Dallas family. he won't just be a yes man to Jerry Jones. No disrespect to Jason Garrett, the clapper. But he was somebody who would not be able to stand up to Jerry Jones and make things the right way they need to be. The last time Jerry Jones had true success, meaning Super Bowls, is when he had somebody who would stand up to him and had their own will. And that was Jimmy Johnson. You got one with Barry Switzer as well. And he had Bill Parcells there for a while. But Bill Parcells, I don't think, had the talent to truly, do what he had to do. He was out there with Quincy Carter at quarterback. But this hire is a good foot in the right direction. You're going forward. If you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, you should be happy with that decision. So good decision for Dallas Cowboys to hire Mike McCarthy. Tom Brady, Drew Brees, give them the golden parachute package, part ownership, front office position that's real, just easy. They ain't really got to do much. And make it as easy for them as possible. Give them a deal they cannot refuse to walk away. But like I said, with Tom Brady, it's going to be hard because he has everything he needs. He truly does it for the love. Drew Brees as well. They both just love the game. And they both want to be the record holders for all the records all time. Drew Brees probably doesn't want to retire until Tom retires and vice versa. So it's going to be tough to get those guys to retire, but I think it's the best move for the franchises to try to get them to retire, as crazy as that sounds. So we're going to take our first music break. I'm in a mood today where I want to hear collaborations, great ones. So this is Method Man featuring Mary J. Blige, You're All I Need.
Brothers, it's enough to make a hard rock smile. Shorty, I'm there for you anytime you need me. For real, girl, it's me in your world. Believe me, nothing make a man feel better than a woman. Queen with a crown that be down for whatever. There are few things that's forever. My lady, we can make war or make babies. Back when I was nothing, you made a brother feel like he was something. That's why I'm with you to this day, boo, no frontin'. Even when the skies were gray, you would rub me on my back and say, baby, it'll be okay. Now that's real to a brother like me, baby. Never ever give my cootie away. Keep it tight, alright? And I'ma walk these doors so we can live in a fat ass crib with thousands of kids. Like, you don't need a ring to be my wife. Just be there for me and I'ma make sure we be living in the effing lap of luxury. I'm realizing that you didn't have to fuck with me, but you did. Now I'm going all out, kid, and I got mad love to give. You my nigga.
Like sweet morning dew, I took one look at you, and it was plain to see you were my destiny. With you I spend my time, I'll dedicate my life, I'll sacrifice to you, dedicate my life to you.
I gotta love Jones for your body and your skin tone. 5 minutes alone, I'm already on the road. Plus I love the fact you got a mind of your own. No need to shop around, you got the good stuff at home. Even if I'm locked up north, you in the world rocking 3/4 of cloth, never showing your stuff off, boo. It be true, me for you, that's how it is. I be your Noah, you be my Wiz, I'm your mister, you my missus, with hugs and kisses, Valentine cards and birthday wishes. Please, we on another level of planning, of understanding the bond between man and woman and child, the highest elevation, cause we above all that romance crap, just show you love. Don't stop.
Welcome back to The Real Deal with Damian Adams. Hopefully you enjoyed that music break. Classic right there. You're All I Need by Method Man and Mary J. Blige. So now let's get into the wildcard weekend recap. It was a crazy weekend of playoff football, starting with the first game on Saturday where the Houston Texans defeated the Buffalo Bills 22-19. Thrilling game. Went to overtime. Deshaun Watson, who is, the new Superman, went 20 for 25, 247 yards, 1 touchdown. He was sacked 7 times in this game. But he had 14 carries of 55 yards and 1 touchdown. Carlos Hyde had 16 carries of 48 yards. DeAndre Hopkins had 6 receptions for 90 yards. On Buffalo's side, Josh Allen went 24 for 46, 264 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Had 9 carries for 92 yards and also had a receiving touchdown. That was 16 yards. Devin Singletary had 13 carries for 58 yards, 6 receptions for 76 yards as well. So I was really disappointed in Buffalo in this game. I picked Buffalo to win because their defense is so good and their offense just didn't have to make mistakes. That's it. Just don't make mistakes and you'll win the game. And it looked like that was going to happen. They were up 16-0. The first drive was amazing by Buffalo. That first drive, they just ran down the field. Josh Allen getting long runs. They do the trick play where Josh Allen gets the touchdown, takes the hit, and cartwheels his way into the end zone. And from there, you're like, oh, man, Buffalo. And then you shut down Houston for, 2.5 quarters? And then that bad man, Deshaun Watson, said, okay, let's stop playing. It's time to get for real. And started bringing Houston back. And even as that started to happen, I still believed in Buffalo. Josh Allen was looking shaky, but Buffalo's defense was still there, still making it tough on Deshaun Watson. And as the game got tied up at 19 and going to overtime, Houston's defense looked like they're going to stop, or Buffalo's defense, looks like they're going to stop Houston. 2 defenders come in free. 2 of them. Not blocked, not touched, not pinched, nothing. Come in free. Just free as a bird in the wind. And they're right at Deshaun Watson. They should crush him. Or in today's league, gently put him on the ground. And somehow Deshaun Watson's able to stand up as both guys hit him, get out of that, roll out, hit the running back, and then the running back makes a move. Next thing you know, he's going 30 yards down the field, and they're in deep field goal range. Like I said, I picked Buffalo, so I was rooting for them to win because I want to be right. We all want to be right. And again, I just can't be mad because Deshaun Watson is one of those guys, like I talked about last week, he's one of those guys who just can put a team on his back and say, I got y'all. Y'all might not have it today, but I got y'all. I'm going to get you there. And how can you be mad at that? He's awesome, man. And Houston has a great quarterback for, a good 10, 15 years to go. Hopefully he stays healthy throughout that time. And Houston's a team who always is just not trustworthy. Their whole history has been them getting to the playoffs, losing in the wild card round, even if they have home field advantage. They always play in that first game. I call that first wild card game on Saturday Houston Texans Invitational. And a lot of times they lose it. But this year they're able to pull it out because Deshaun Watson. And that's it. There's no other analysis needed. They got a little too conservative on offense and should have scored more points. But besides that, it's just, why did Houston win? Deshaun Watson. Why did Buffalo lose? Deshaun Watson. And that's it. That's all you need to say about it, because that's what they do. That's what he does, is come through in the clutch and win. And I think they have actually a good matchup against Kansas City, which I will talk about a little bit later. For Buffalo, they should be happy about this season, getting 10 victories. The playoff game is definitely a disappointment when they should have won, but their future is bright, and they should win the AFC East next year. In the direction they're going, Patriots going the opposite direction. The AFC East should be there for Buffalo to take over. For the next matchup, speaking of the New England Patriots, the Tennessee Titans defeated New England Patriots 20-13. Ryan Tannehill went 8 for 15, 72 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Derrick Henry, 34 carries. You heard me correctly. In 2019, 2020, running back had 34 carries, 182 yards, 1 touchdown, averaging 5.4 yards per carry in the game. Derrick Henry, man. Tom Brady went 20 for 37, 209 yards, 1 interception. Sony Michel had 14 carries for 61 yards. Receiving wise, James White was the leading receiver with 5 receptions for 62 yards. Then you had Ben Watson, Rex Burkhead, and Edelman only had 3 receptions for 30 yards. Whenever Edelman is shut down in that way, with this version of New England, you know it's going to go bad. What really shocked me about this game is that it was 14-13 for the longest. First half, both teams were able to score and, drive down the field. Second half, Tennessee was like, okay, let's put the clamps on New England. And watching the game, I was wondering why Tennessee's cornerbacks would give any of the wide receivers for New England any space. Like, you should be jamming them each and every time, in their throat, in their face, over and over and over again. Just jam them every time, because there was no one who really gave you a threat downfield. You knew he wanted to get Edelman on little intermediate routes, James White out the backfield, and they were able to stop it. Tennessee just out-physicaled them. Even with Tennessee's offense not producing in the second half, they just were able to shut their offense down. And Tennessee should definitely get a lot of credit for being able to do that. Of course, the most credit goes to Derrick Henry. Just an absolute monster. This dude's that big, that physical, that fast. And going into the game, I picked Tennessee to win because I said Derrick Henry's going to have a huge game. The weakness of New England's defense is against the run. What does Tennessee want to do? They want to run the rock right at you. And that's what they did. And there was times where I got nervous because they weren't able to continue running the ball. Honestly, I think Derrick Henry should have got 45 carries. You're like, dang, that's crazy. They should have ran him over and over and over again, because what was New England going to do about it? They could do nothing. My man was getting over 5 yards a carry. Nothing they could do about it. And then once they put 9 in the box because they're so scared, that's when you go play action over the top. It's, it was a simple formula. And you got to love Mike Vrabel for thinking outside the box, doing the whole thing where he wasted so much time towards the end of the game with the delay of game and the false start. And then getting New England to commit an encroachment penalty, which added even more time for them to waste. It was a great coaching job and a great job of just being the more physical team by Tennessee. This is truly the end of New England's dynasty. Even if Tom Brady stays in New England, I don't see them getting back to being the Super Bowl team that we got so used to seeing for so many years. And I'm not going to celebrate the end of their dynasty, but it is great to see just something different. You know, we're going to have a different AFC representative for the first time in quite a while. And I look forward to seeing what happens next. You know, Tennessee, Ryan Tannehill didn't do much, but he made a couple throws that were major. And that's all you need, is those few throws when your running back is able to just dominate the way that Derrick Henry did. Unbelievable. It was, like I said, it was 14-13 for the most part, and the last pick six was just cherry on the top of the cake. So honestly, Tennessee won 14-13. And the whole second half, New England was not able to put up a point, get a field goal, like get in field goal range. Think about that, how hard it is to stop NFL offenses today. And New England was not able to even get in field goal range. So you just got to give all the props in the world to Tennessee for doing what they were able to do in this matchup. And New England, man, you got to give respect for the decade of dominance that they had. You know, because there was the first decade, there was the first run of dominance. They had a little break there where they weren't dominating as much. And then the second sprint was just nuts. And now I think it's truly over. We're going to see what Bill Belichick can do without Tom Brady. Because even if Tom Brady returns, I believe it's going to be hard for him to get back on the Patriots, especially because Bill's probably like, man, we need to move on. But hopefully the golden parachute package is implemented and they get him to retire and be on good standing with the Patriots, because, you know, that relationship being sour wouldn't be good for anybody, right? You would love to see them go out on good terms together. But that was my recap of the AFC side. We're going to take our next music break and be right back.
I think you're truly something special. Just what my dreams are really made of. Let's stay together, boy. There's no one like you around. Oh, baby. Oh,
baby girl. There's a storm. I can't really explain it. I'm so into you now. I wanna be more than a friend of you now. When they ask, I mention my baby girl in the interviews now. And I don't bring the problems from the 90s and the 2000s. There's no reason to have a friend or two now. Cause the kid's ready to tell you how he feel in a few vows. Maybe I speak in general now. But girl, I'ma do whatever just to keep a grin on you now. Where I go, they wear bikinis in the winter too now. What you think about tan lines on the skin of you now? Why wouldn't I wanna spend a few thou? On Fifth Ave, shopping sprees, and them dinners to chow. I ain't concerned what other men would do now. As long as when I slide up in you, you growl. And any dude with you, he better be a kin of you now. And I ain't jealous, it's the principle now. I'm so into you.
I really like what you've done to me. I can't really explain it. I'm so into you. I really like what you've done to me. I can't really explain it. I'm so into you.
It's more than a flash, and I would've traded it all in orderly fashion. A villa in Florida, we crashing just off the shore, so you can hear when the water be splashing. The drop top 3 in a quarter, we dashing. The flawless diamonds in the border, we flashing. The money we ought to be stashing. I make sure every quarter be cashing. I can't really explain. My friends be thinking I'm slipping, these girls be thinking I'm tripping. What kind of weed you be smoking? What type of drinks you be sipping? Sweet thing, just to think of you dipping. What had me with the blues so hard, you would think I was crippin'. Now
You relaxing in the bins. Credit cards with no limits, so you don't worry about maxing when you spend. But since you been asking about the friends, how'd you like it if both our names had Jackson on the ends?
I'm with you, come to me, I can't explain it. I'm so into you. I really like it. I'm with you, come to me, I can't really explain it. I'm so into you.
I don't wanna trip, but truth is, girl, the way you cook a steak remind me of them strips and roof Chris. You love my smile, no matter how chipped my tooth is. With you, it ain't because my whips is ruthless. So sit on chrome, dipped up deuces, and you ain't flattered by Canary and VS dip, taste suited. Cover ballers look dumb when they press you, 5s and 6s. You don't let them kind of numbers impress you. Even though I was somewhat successful, yeah, me and a player was becoming too stressful. But every since the superwoman has come to my rescue, my winter's been wonderful, my summer's been special. Let's fly the same bark while the villa be painted, just so we can get really acquainted. The love is real, there's no way you can feel like it's tainted, but I can't really explain it. Yeah.
Oh, I really like what you done to me. I can't really explain it. I'm so into you. I really like what you done to me. I can't explain it. I'm so into you. I really like what I feel when I'm with you. You're a dream come true. Oh yeah. Don't you ever leave my side. Oh no. 'Cause it feels so right. Baby, I really like what you done to me. I can't explain it. I'm so into you, baby. What you've done to me, I can't explain it. I'm so into you. I really like. Oh, I can't. No. Into you, I really like what you've done to me. Really explain it.
Welcome back to The Real Deal with Damian Adams. Hopefully you enjoyed that music break. That was Into You by Fabolus featuring Tamia. Great record. Classic right there. You see what type of vibe I'm on today. Just wanted to get the best collaborations, that R&B/hip-hop feel in there. And now it's time for me to talk about a sad subject. Sad subject. As you can see, I can't even get my words out. As the Minnesota Vikings defeated my New Orleans Saints 26-20. Great game. Kirk Cousins went 19 for 31, 242 yards, 1 touchdown. Dalvin Cook, 28 carries, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns. Adam Thielen was out there eating, 7 receptions for 129 yards. Drew Brees went 26 for 33, 208 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 1 fumble lost. Taysom Hill had 50 yards rushing, 50 yards passing, and 1 receiving touchdown. Michael Thomas had 7 receptions for 70 yards. Okay. So the Saints chose the wrong time to have a C+ game. Right? This playoff time, you need to be on that A+ level. And I felt like they were playing at an A level going into the playoffs. And that momentum and the way they were playing would be able to carry them at least past Minnesota because they're at home. We all know about how hard it is to win in the Superdome. And the Saints should be able to pull out this game and pull out this victory. And they were not able to do so. And it's just still shocking. You know, when you think about the fact that our run defense was the strength of the defense, and in that first half, they were not able to slow down Dalvin Cook at all. And usually a team that's good at running the ball gets stronger as the game goes along. But the Saints were able to stop the run, or contain the run at least, in the second half, giving the Saints offense a chance to catch up, which they did, forcing the game to go to overtime. But this game could have been won by the Saints in regulation if it wasn't for, Will Lutz, who's been a great kicker, one of the best kickers in the league, missing a field goal before the half, which was a great sequence. Minnesota goes down, they score. Not that much time left. You figure Minnesota's going to go in up 13-10. Then you get the great return. Then it's immediately followed by a pass from Drew Brees to Michael Thomas. Gets him in great range. It's a very makeable field goal. I believe it was 43 yards, if I remember correctly. And he just pushes a little bit too much to the right. At the time, I was like, ooh, that's kind of huge. And at the same time, I was like, okay, Saints get the ball to start the second half. The Saints are great at scoring a touchdown on that first drive after halftime. They're great at making adjustments during the half, coming out, going straight down the field. Don't do that. And at that point, you're like, just doesn't feel right now. We're just not clicking. And this is after, Drew Brees had already threw an interception earlier in the game, which, that Minnesota was able to score off of. So once Minnesota got up 20-10, it was like, ooh. As we were down 10 going into the fourth. And that offense can get going at any time, so you're not giving up, but you just feel a little shaky about it. But we get a field goal. We get the touchdown pass to Taysom Hill. Oh, we got a touchdown pass first, and then the field goal tied it up. But before that, as I rewind a little bit, before that, you have Taysom Hill, who, killing it all game. He was if the Saints would have won, he definitely would have been the MVP. He had a great run. They did a quarterback sweep. He goes I believe, 30 yards maybe. Gets into field goal range. Drew Brees comes out there. Next play, fumbles the ball and loses it. That's the play that probably lost us the game. Because we're in field goal range. If you get a field goal right there, maybe you get the ball back later on and you get a field goal to win the game. So we were lucky enough to get the ball back, right under 2 minutes left to get that field goal to force overtime. But imagine we get that same situation, but the game is already tied at 20. And now all you need is a field goal to win. No OT. Don't have to worry about a coin flip losing you the game. But fumble. Our defense stops them. We get a chance. We tie the game. Go to overtime. Vikings get the ball. We look good at first. Then Lattimore runs into Marcus Williams. He's knocked out of the game. You put Patrick Robinson on Adam Thielen. Now, Lattimore had been having his struggles. He had kind of a little blow up with the coaches because of a missed assignment or the fact that he got lost on a man-to-man play on Thielen. And Patrick Robinson gets beat deep. Thielen catches the ball. It's a great pass by Kirk Cousins. The biggest pass of his career. He drops a dime on Adam Thielen to get him down to the 2-yard line. They try a couple run plays. Our defense shuts them down. 3rd and goal, you see him line up. You see Kyle Rudolph on the left side, covered by P.J. Williams. And at this point, we know that he can struggle a little bit in man-to-man coverage, and he's going against a big tight end. Now, none of our corners are going to have the size to match up with a Kyle Rudolph. But maybe if that's C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he does a better job, is in a better position. Williams gets stuck behind Kyle Rudolph. He looks like when he ran the route, he thought that Rudolph was going to do a quick slant. Rudolph goes into the corner for the fade. Perfect pass by Kirk Cousins. Rudolph gets away with a little push. He does get away with a good push. And because Williams is in a bad position, once he gets that push, he's not able to do anything. Rudolph catches, looks like the easiest game-winning touchdown of all time. It's over. And at this point, you just wonder, are the Saints cursed? You know, you think about the last few years in the playoffs, the Minnesota Miracle, the no-call in NOLA, and this year you just have us getting beat. Now, of course, the last 2 years were worse because Minnesota Miracle, we were the better team, we should have won, and a miracle happened for us to lose. No call in NOLA, horrible, no call on the pass interference that should have been. That pass interference is called. Saints should win that game easily. In this case, Minnesota just was the better team. Honestly, even if we would have, got the ball first in overtime, I'm not sure we scored a touchdown because their defense was playing so great. They were able to shut us down in so many ways. Our leading rusher was Taysom Hill, who only carried the ball 4 times. So they were shutting down Kamara, shutting down Latavius Murray. The biggest pass was from Taysom Hill. So they're shutting down the passing game of Drew Brees. And Michael Thomas wasn't really shut down. He just wasn't able, Drew Brees wasn't able to get on the ball because of the defensive pressure from Minnesota. So when you have that situation, you just got to give props to Minnesota. Their defense played outstanding. They were able to hold the Saints to less total yards, less first downs, and less time of possession than the Vikings. And all those things are things that the Saints were doing great all year, and you thought would have the advantage of going into this game. Kirk Cousins won the big one, made the big throw. Gotta give him props for that. Hopefully he can continue to do that, but he definitely has a big notch in his belt when it comes to that argument now. So good luck to Minnesota against San Francisco next week. Definitely we'll get into that matchup. For the last matchup of the weekend, we had Seattle go into Philadelphia, defeat the Eagles 17-9. Russell Wilson went 18 for 30, 325 yards, 1 touchdown. Also had 9 carries, 45 yards. DK Metcalf, 7 receptions for 160 yards, 1 touchdown. Tyler Lockett had 4 receptions for 62 yards. Josh McCown went 18 for 24, 174 yards. Was sacked 6 times. Carson Wentz got hurt very early with a concussion. Miles Sanders had 14 carries for 69 yards. Dallas Goedert, 7 receptions for 73 yards. Okay. So for this matchup, if you're a Philadelphia fan, you just got to be happy Philly made the playoffs. With all the injuries that they had, just everybody getting hurt. And then it was just the story of their season. The fact that Carson Wentz got hurt in this game was just like, what do you expect, right? At this point, if you was a Philly fan, you just had to be like, that's how the season's gone. Like, this is what we expect of our team at this point. If somebody get hurt, it had to be our most important player. For Seattle, they went to a tough environment, a team that was going to fight hard, and Russell Wilson is one of those guys. Like I talked about with Deshaun Watson earlier. All right, we're not able to run the ball. Our running backs are injured. We got an older Marshawn Lynch. We're not going to be able to run the ball effectively against this team. Put the game on my back. I got y'all. DK Metcalf had his coming out moment there in the playoffs. He is somebody who Jerry Porter last week talked very highly of when you talk about his speed, size, and he's showing the ability to run routes. And Russell Wilson's talked about how he's somebody who loves to study film and learn. So he has the makings of a great wide receiver in the making. And you have that combination of him and Russell Wilson for years to come. We already know how effective the combination of Russell Wilson to Tyler Lockett is. Seattle, they definitely have a shot going forward. I would not count them out at all going forward. But now we're going to take our next music break. When I come back, we'll start our predictions for divisional round this upcoming weekend. We'll be right back.
Yeah. What up, Mom? How you been? Yeah, I know. It's all good. Girl, your stare, those eyes.
Love it when you look at me, baby.
Your lips, your smile.
Love it when you kiss me, baby.
Your hips, those thighs.
Love it when you tug me, baby.
And I can't deny.
Love it when I'm with you, baby.
Got a fetish for fucking you with your skirt on the back street in the backseat of the Yukon. What's taking so long? I'm getting anxious but patiently waiting for you to tell a nigga to move on. Between me and you, we can find each other flying abroad in my private G2. I ain't trying to G you, I'm trying to see you bent over. You know how we do it, feet to shoulders, bring heat to cold this night, so ferocious. Now you street promoting the dick game is potent, cause in the bed, nigga go hard like Jordan, sweat pouring, loving the way you be moaning, ripping the sheet, looking at me, licking at me, cause every woman just wanna be happy, and it's crazy, but baby,
Love it when I'm with you, baby.
girl, your stare, those eyes,
Love it when you look at me, baby.
your lips, your smile,
Love it when you kiss me, baby.
your hips, those thighs,
Love it when you tug me, baby.
and I can't deny.
Love it when I'm with you, baby. I wanna get away, cause you know, like I know when there's a better day. You're coming, I'm hooked on your love and believe me. And when you hold my body, I know you need me. Wait for me, baby. I've been going half crazy for your love, and I was told that the sex is better than drugs. Been getting addicted, boy, listen. I'm the only piece of the puzzle you're missing. Like when we kissing, bye, bye, bye. You got a girl that'll ride, ride, ride. So take me tonight and do what you do to me, baby.
Girl, your stare, those eyes,
Love it when you look at me, baby.
your lips, your smile,
Love it when you kiss me, baby.
your hips, those thighs,
Love it when you tug me, baby.
and I can't deny.
Love it when I'm with you, baby.
Shorty, are you really getting bored with me or him? Cause though I play a lot of games, I play him to win.
But then again, I'm still young and I'm living my
You
life.
know you're right, and I'm the type to pull up to your bumper, get your number, baby.
I can only help but wonder.
Life would be without,
My sweet baby.
hey, you're my baby.
Holla if you hear me. You can understand that my love is pain and how I'm feeling, babe. It's just a woman thing.
It's a man's world, but I understand.
But let's do nothing different, boy. Let's stick to the plan.
You be my down ass with your round ass,
I know I'm feeling you.
like you feeling me.
The way you warm my body, the way you
Girl,
touch me.
your stare, those eyes,
Love it when you look at me, baby.
your lips, your smile,
Love it when you kiss me, baby.
your hips, those thighs,
Love it when you tug me, baby.
and I can't deny.
Love it when I'm with you, baby. I love when you touch me, baby. All over my body, baby. I love when you kiss me, baby. All over my body, baby. I love when you touch me, baby. All over my body, baby. I love when you kiss me, baby. All over my body,
Girl, your stare, those eyes,
love it when you look at me, baby.
your lips, your smile,
Love it when you kiss me, baby.
your hips, those thighs,
Love it when you tug me, baby.
and I can't deny.
Love it when I'm with you, baby.
baby cakes, you motherfucker, you sons of bitch. Ain't none of these niggas real like us. You underdig? And yes, sir, we here to stay. Right now, let's get into this motherfucker. You understand?
Welcome back to The Real Deal with Damian Adams. Hopefully you enjoyed that classic right there. That was Mesmerize by Ja Rule and Ashanti. When I was putting together this type of list for the music, you got to involve Ja Rule. He has so many hits like this one. And Ja Rule, of course, he gets kind of stepped on historically because of his beef with 50. But Ja Rule has some hits, man. So you got to give him respect. So now let's get into my divisional round preview. First game on Saturday is Minnesota at San Francisco. San Francisco is favored by 7 in this matchup. And I'm not sure if they should be favored by that much. They are the 1 seed. And I've already eaten my crow for not believing in them. But I'm not sure that they are definitely going to win this game. So just looking at the last few games defensively. In Minnesota's last 5 games, they've given up 7 points, 10, 23, 21, and 20. San Francisco's given up 20, 46, 29, 31, 21. And throughout the second half of the year, San Francisco's defense got a little banged up. Haven't been as good. Minnesota's defense looks to be getting stronger as the year goes along. San Francisco's a really young team. Jimmy Garoppolo has not been in this position before. A lot of players on that defense have not been in this position before. And they're not going to be in a rhythm. That's the one thing about having a bye. It's great because you get a little healthier, get to rest, but you don't have that rhythm of playing that Minnesota's going to have. And it could be dangerous. Minnesota, they're coming in on top of the world. They just went into the Superdome and took out a team with maybe the best home field advantage in all of football in the Saints. So what's going to stop them now, right? And Minnesota wants to run the ball. San Francisco, one thing they've been struggling against is stopping the run. During the year, they fell to 17th against the run, while Minnesota is 6th in the league in rushing, with a healthy, looking fresh Dalvin Cook, who was doing some great things against the Saints, where he was able to turn what could have been or should have been a 2-yard loss into a 7 to 8 yard gain. Can he do the same thing against the San Francisco 49ers? Now, of course, going against San Francisco, you know, on the defensive line, you got to stop Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa is an absolute monster. He was my pick for the new kid on the block award winner on the defensive side. And he just does so much, and he never stops. Just if he's on the right side and you're on the left side, he's coming to get you. He finds a way to get around the football somehow. Like if it's around him in any type of way, he's going to get there and make some type of play. So if Minnesota has a plan to excuse me. If Minnesota has a plan to somehow take him out of it, that would be major. And I think a way they could take him out of it is by either running it right at him or being able to run away from him while also making sure he's blocked. And you know that's what they want to do. Kirk Cousins made some great throws, but the Minnesota Vikings want to run the ball and have that set up to pass. And as much as we've gotten to the new analytics of football and how you have to pass the ball more and more, there's something about old school running the ball. We saw that with Tennessee, Minnesota. They were both able to establish the run, which set up the pass. In Tennessee's case, they just ran the ball to set up more run. Like, that's all they did. So there's still something to that. I think Minnesota has a good case in this one because of that. San Francisco definitely deserves to be respected. I'm not trying to disrespect them at all, 49er fans. But I am going with the upset in this one. Yes, I'm going Minnesota to defeat the San Francisco 49ers 28-27. You heard it here first. Minnesota will go into San Francisco and defeat the San Francisco 49ers 28-27. Great game. But I think Minnesota will be able to establish the run. San Francisco's defense has not been the same second half of the year. Their offense, I think Jimmy Garoppolo may throw a pick. I'm calling it. He's going to throw an interception. That's going to be major. San Francisco, young team, future's very bright, but they lose in a shocker as Minnesota comes into San Francisco with the victory. For the next matchup. This next matchup may be the fastest game recorded in history, right? As Tennessee is going into Baltimore. Now, Tennessee, we all know what they want to do. Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry. That's all they want to do. Run Derrick Henry down your throat over and over again. Baltimore, they want to run Lamar Jackson, run Mark Ingram, run Edwards down your throat over and over and over again. Both teams are going to have success doing that because they're so great at it. Even though neither one of these defenses are punks in any way, this game is going to be which team can punk the other team. Tennessee was third in rushing throughout the year at 138 yards per game. Baltimore was first with an incredible 206 yards per game, which is absolutely positively nuts. Off the charts nuts. Baltimore was fifth against the run, while Tennessee was 12th against the run. That's what this game is about. Like, the run. That's it. Lamar Jackson's going to make some passes out there. He's going to make some passes out there where he is able to get the tight ends going down the field because the defense is so scared of the run. Tennessee is going to be able to get Tannehill some passes because Baltimore is going to be so scared of Derrick Henry. Who takes advantage of this better? Who do you trust more, Tannehill or Lamar Jackson, to take advantage of that part, right? And I have to go with Lamar Jackson. Even though Tannehill's the veteran, Lamar Jackson is the should-be MVP, should be unanimous All-Pro. Whoever didn't vote for him All-Pro, like, really? That's what we doing? But you just got to go by his body of work this season. He's improved a lot in the passing game from last year. Last year in the playoffs, Lamar Jackson had a horrible game against San Diego. But with this type of offense and with the confidence that he has going in, I don't see him being stifled at all by Tennessee's defense. But it will be a very physical game, old school. I'm talking 1974 old school game where Baltimore will be able to out-physical Tennessee 21-14. I'm calling it. I think this game ends in like 2 hours and 10 minutes. Like, it's going to be quick. Like, commercials are going to be at a minimal. They're going to be at a very, high cost because they're not going to be that far in between or they're going to be very far in between, as Baltimore and Tennessee both try to run the ball just over and over and over again. And like I said, 1974 old school. I'm excited for it. Football game right here, man. So for my first pick on Saturday, I got Minnesota defeating San Francisco 28-27. For my second pick, I got Baltimore defeating Tennessee 21-14. For my outstanding performances in Minnesota, I think that it's going to be Stephon Diggs. I think that Diggs has a really good game in this one where he is not going to be pouting at all. He has a little moment in the Saints game. I think he stands out in this one. And for Tennessee-Baltimore, I'm going to go with Mark Ingram as the outstanding performer, getting 2 touchdowns in this one. in a close game, but Tennessee just doesn't have enough at this point to beat Baltimore. So we're going to take our next music break. Give you a little Dilemma by Nelly and Kelly Rowland. Continuing the theme. You see what the theme is there. And we'll be right back.
She just moved right up the block for me, and she got the hots for me, the finest thing my hood has seen. But oh no, she got a man and a son though. Oh, when that's okay, cause I wait for my cue and just listen, play my position like a show star. Pick up everything, mommy hitting, and in no time, I better make this with him mine. And that's for sure, cause I never been the type to break up a happy home. But it's something about baby girl, I just can't leave alone. Tell me, mom, what's it gonna be? She said,
you don't know what you mean to me. I do. All I think about is you. Even when I'm with my boo, you know I'm crazy over you. No matter what I do, all I think about is you. Even when I'm with my boo, you know I'm crazy over you.
I see all out and you looking, I never say a word. I know how niggas start acting trippin'. I heard about they girls. No way, hey, Nelly gon' fight over no day, hey. As you can see, but I like your steez, your style, your whole demeanor, the way you come through and holler and swoop me in his two-seater. That's gangsta, and I got special ways to thank ya. Don't you forget it, but it ain't that easy for you to back up and leave him. But you and Dirty got ties for different reasons. I respect that. And right before I turned to leave, she said,
you don't know what you mean to me. I do. All I think about is you. Even when I'm with my boo, you know I'm crazy over you. No matter what I do, all I think about is you. Even when I'm with my boo, you know I'm crazy over you.
Sing it for me, Kay.
And I love you, and I need you. Nelly, I love you, I do.
Come on, girl.
And it's more than you ever know. Boy, it's for sure. You can always count on my love forevermore. Yeah.
East Coast, I know you're shaking right. Down South, I know you're bouncing right. West Coast, I know you're walking right.
You don't know
Midwest,
what you
I see you swinging right.
I do. All I think about is you. Even when I'm with my boo, you know I'm crazy over you. No matter what I do, all I think about is you. Even when I'm with my boo, you know I'm crazy over you.
East Coast, I know you're shaking right. Down South, I know you're bouncing right. West Coast, I know you're walking right.
You don't know
Midwest,
what you
I see you swinging right.
mean to
East
me.
Coast, you still shaking right. Down South, I see you bouncing right. West Coast, I know you're walking right.
You don't know what
Midwest,
you
you still
mean to
swinging
me.
right.
I do. All I think about is you. Even when I'm with my boo, you know I'm crazy over you. No matter what I do, all I think about is you. Even when I'm with my boo, you know I'm crazy over you.
East Coast, I know you're shaking right. Down South, I know you're bouncing right. West Coast, I know you're walking right.
You don't know what
Midwest,
you
I see you
mean to
swinging right. East
me.
Coast, you still shaking right. Down South, I see you bouncing right. West Coast, I know you walking right.
You don't know what you've done to me.
Welcome back to The Real Deal with Damian Adams. Hopefully you enjoyed that classic that was Dilemma by Nelly featuring Kelly Rowland. Nelly, people forget how huge Nelly was, man. Like, Nelly was out here moving units. Like, people today wish they could move records the way Nelly was moving records back then. Drake is Nelly on steroids, pretty much. All right, so just to give you a picture of how successful Nelly was, that's just a lesser version of what Drake is now. Like, Nelly was on that type of level. And just got to give a shout out to him, man, because you got plenty of records out there. Shout out to Nelly. Kelly Rowland, too. You know, the hottest member of Destiny's Child. Yeah, I said it. You know, I was a little scared to say it last week, or the week before last when I had my man Rashawn Reeves on the show. But yes, I think Kelly Rowland is hotter than Beyonce. I said it. Please don't kill me, Beehive. But let's move on to the next matchups on Sunday. First one we have is Houston going to Kansas City. Kansas City is favored by 9.5 points. Not liking that because Houston beat Kansas City earlier this year. Deshaun Watson was able to outduel Patrick Mahomes. Why wouldn't that happen again? Right now, Kansas City's defense has improved since then. Right? And with the defense being better, are you able to stop Deshaun Watson? But Deshaun Watson is one of those guys who says, all right, get on my back. Let's go. I got you. Now, the difference in this game is when he's matched up against Patrick Mahomes has the same ability to put his team on his back and say, let's go. So I'm very excited about this matchup, seeing which quarterback is going to be able to say, get on my back, let's go. We ready to rock. And Kansas City is 8th against the pass on defense, right? So with that improvement, it's going to make it harder on Deshaun Watson to get the ball to DeAndre Hopkins. But Kansas City still isn't the best against the run. 26th against the run. Houston was 9th in rushing yards during the season. So if you give Deshaun Watson a good running game, which he did not have against Buffalo, but he could have in this game against Kansas City. You give him a good running game, you keep Kansas City off the field offensively, because you're not going to stop Kansas City. The way to stop them is through your offense. If Houston's able to do that, can make this game very interesting. But I think in this playoff format with the improvement to Kansas City, that team with Patrick Mahomes throwing to Tyreek Hill and all the weapons, everybody's fast. The whole team is fast. The tight end, fast. The second wide receiver, fast. The third wide receiver, fast. The fourth wide receiver, fast. Everybody on the team, not just fast, but fast. Fast. Like fast to where you can't even hear it being said. Fast. Like just dumb fast, right? And how can you stop it when, you know, the slot receivers running a 4-3? It's just not fair at times. And they have a quarterback with a literal cannon, not literally, but a cannon attached to his right shoulder. It's going to be exciting. Which quarterback is able to put the team on their back and say, I got you? In this matchup, I'm going to go with Kansas City. Yes, I'm going to go with Kansas City to win 28-24. I think that the outstanding performer will be Travis Kelce at tight end, doing his thing, coming through major. And Houston had a good run. They shouldn't have won the wildcard matchup, honestly. They were outplayed by Buffalo, and Deshaun Watson put on his cape. I don't think the cape's going to be out this time. Kansas City gets the victory. In the last matchup of the divisional round, we have Seattle versus Green Bay. Green Bay is favored by 4 points. I'm not mad at that line. I think it's going to be a good game. Both of these teams are very similar. They both came into the end of the season tied in turnover differential at plus 12. Seattle was 14th in passing, while Green Bay was 17th in passing yards. Seattle was a great rushing team prior to both of their running backs getting hurt and out for the year, in which they had to replace them with guys off the street like Marshawn Lynch. And Green Bay was 15 in rushing. So I think that now, because Seattle is to their backup running backs, they're even with Green Bay in that aspect as well. And both teams have quarterbacks who can say, again, get on my back, let's go home. Let's get this victory. Now, at this stage of their career, I believe that Russell Wilson is a tad bit better than Aaron Rodgers, right? And there's no disrespect to the bad man Aaron Rodgers. He is, in fact, a bad man. But with Russell Wilson, his ability to make something out of nothing is matched by none, right? In the matchup against Philly, no running game. It was all on Russell Wilson to make this game winnable. And he did. In this matchup against Green Bay's defense has improved a lot, but it's been kind of fool's gold. Their rankings are not that high, and a Russell Wilson-led team will be able to find those holes. Seattle's defense isn't the greatest either, right? So you have two teams who will be able to score, but Green Bay, cold weather. I haven't checked the forecast, but I'm just guessing it's going to be cold because it's Green Bay in January, right? So I got that the offense will be able to move the ball but not score as much. And I'm going with the upset. Yes, I already got Minnesota beating San Francisco. I'm going with Seattle to defeat the Green Bay Packers 17-14. Yes, you heard it here first, excuse me. Seattle will beat the Green Bay Packers 17-14, meaning that the NFC Championship game will be at the number 5 seed Seattle Seahawks home. Nuts. But you heard it here first, it's going to happen, okay? For the standout performances from this game, Seattle, Russell Wilson. You know, I think that DK Metcalf is really coming into his own, and we'll have another big game in this one. Marshawn Lynch, I think, will score a touchdown. For Green Bay, you can't really stop Devontae Adams. You can't at all. And he is just not going to be enough, right? Because Green Bay doesn't have like that second go-to guy. It's supposed to be Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham is no longer that guy. He's not getting the ball from Drew Brees and that system in New Orleans. He's not that dude. You know, maybe he just got old really fast, but he's no longer that guy. You know, he's a good little safety blanket from here time to time. But he's no longer that guy, that dude. No. So the only guy they have as far as weapons who's that guy is Devontae Adams. Their running back is cool. But Devontae Adams is the only guy they have is that dude. Aaron Rodgers is that guy, but he's no longer on the level of Russell Wilson. You'll see it here in this matchup with the upset. So I got Kansas City defeating Houston 28-24 in a thriller. Seattle defeating Green Bay 17-14. So now it's time for me to do my forgotten player. This is where we pay homage to players who may have been good but not great, great but not recognized, or players who you may have just forgotten about who we want to remind you of. And thinking of the Green Bay Packers, made me think of this running back, Ahman Green. The 6', 218-pound running back was a third-round pick by the Seattle Seahawks in the 1998 NFL Draft out of Nebraska. In his last year in Nebraska, he ran for 1,877 yards, which led to him being that third-round pick. In his first 2 seasons in Seattle, he was barely used because Ricky Watters, who is another great forgotten player, was still doing his thing. And Ahman Green was just there. So he gets shipped out to Green Bay, goes to Green Bay and becomes a great running back, right? Or he's able to show how great he is. He has 6 seasons over 1,000 yards in Green Bay. 4-time Pro Bowler. His best season was the 2003 year where he had 1,883 yards, 15 touchdowns, 367 yards receiving, and 5 touchdowns. For his career, he ran for 9,205 yards, 60 touchdowns, 4.5 yards per carry. And I do apologize to the Houston Texans. He was probably one of the worst signings of all time, as you paid him a lot of money, and he was pretty much done at that point. But for Green Bay, he was a great running back, did some great things there. Good forgotten player. Shout out to Ahman Green. I want to give a big thank you to everybody who tuned into the show today. Today was just me and you, a little quick one, talking just football. Just me and you, just me and you. Ooh, them vocals is getting there. They're getting there. But make sure you follow me at The Real Deal WDA on all platforms. That's The Real Deal, W as in whiskey, D as in Delta, A as in Alpha. All right? If you like the podcast, don't be selfish. Share it with your friends. Let them know about it, okay? The name of this one is The Golden Parachute. Let them know about that. Get that Golden Parachute package, okay? And until next time, go real or go home.